Hi, this is Heidi from Garden Crossings, and it's been a while since I've done an update on the butterfly house. It's the beginning of September right now, so I want to take you for a walk through and just kind of show you its current state. So if you've watched any of the prior videos of the butterfly house, you'll know that we had to do a lot of trimming in here because we had an infestation of spider mite and thrip due to this extremely hot environment. So we went and we removed pretty much all the annuals and trim back all the shrubs and all the perennials, and so now everything's kind of starting to reflush out again. So I wanted to take you for a walk through. Even though we've had to do a lot of trimming back, we've left some key plants in here, the Asclepias #1, and also we've left some Lantana and coneflowers so that there's plenty of plants for the butterflies to have to get nectar from. So right now what we're seeing is there's a lot of caterpillars that are on the Asclepias. Monarch caterpillars is what we're actually raising here in this house. So you can see there's one right there, another little bit smaller one right there. And then this bush back here, this is also Asclepias. This is just totally getting defoliated, and this is loaded with caterpillars. Like there's probably 20 caterpillars right now on this plant, and it is just, they're huge. So these caterpillars are soon going to be ready to go off and spin their chrysalis. And what we're going to do once they start doing so is they're going to get released out into the wild, because we don't want to keep them in the butterfly house at this point in the season. We want to release them and let them head off to Mexico or California, wherever they go, so that they can continue to live a happy life. Here's another Asclepias, and this one too is just so full of caterpillars. So this is really nice to see that, you know, even though this wasn't the ideal butterfly house that we were thinking for this year, we've had a lot of activity with both the caterpillars and the monarchs. So let's talk about some of the plants that are in here. Right here in this corner, in addition to all these Asclepias that I'm showing you that are loaded with caterpillars, we have some butterfly bush. So in the back there we have the Miss Violet, we have the Miss Pearl, and then up front here is Miss Molly. So the butterfly bush are really great pollinators for the butterflies. We have this beautiful coral craze coneflower, and this was trimmed back to the ground and now has come back, and this is one of the most beautiful coral looking coneflowers that I've ever seen. And the habit of this plant too is really nice. This is just one plant here. We've got some Nepeta cat's pajamas that was trimmed back and now is blooming nicely. You can see that the aquapots really have thrived in this location. We've got the Sedum skyrocket, and then the caladium, and then some beautiful lantana, and they've really filled out this pot. Gorgeous. On this area here from the earlier videos, this was just really full of a lot of annuals. They've all been removed. So now this area here kind of leaves behind the phlox ultraviolet, which is that beautiful magenta colored phlox. Tucked in here at the corner is some more of the Asclepias, and this is the Hello Yellow and tuberosa variety. And look at the wall there, all those beautiful caterpillars. It's just such a beautiful sight to see. We've also got some of the Yarrow. This is the Firefly series. I believe this one is the peach, but it might be the yellow. It's kind of at the end of its blooming cycle, so I can't tell exactly which one it is here with these spent blooms. We've got some more of the beautiful coneflower there. We've got Hollyhocks. This is the cerise hollyhock. And I think hollyhocks are just kind of a really fun plant to add some vertical interest into the garden. Another Asclepias here with different stages of caterpillars. A really huge one there. And then we've got some smaller little babies here. Allium millennium is what's lining the path, and these were in their prime, oh, it's probably been July, but I think even once they're past the prime, the the flowers that are faded add a lot of fun and whimsy into the garden. Got the Agastachi Blue Boa, and that's a really nice plant, long blooming plant if you're looking to add a long blooming perennial into the garden. Another butterfly bush here, Miss Molly. Miss Molly, I think, is one of my favorite color butterfly bushes with that really deep magenta bloom. We've got some more phlox along the back there. Some coneflowers. The Pugster butterfly bush. This is a Pugster blue. And then we've got Pugster pink in the front and Pugster amethyst there in the back. Some Veronica and Sedum. Sedum is a great plant to have in a butterfly garden because Sedum is one of those plants that adds the late in the season color and also gives you the late in the season nectar for the plants. So this one here is just starting to color up, and this plant is absolutely huge. In the back there we have another Asclepias, and that one too is loaded with caterpillars. The Monarda bloomed really pretty this April, May. We trimmed them all back and they've come back gorgeous. So this one here I believe is the Monarda Raspberry. Next to it is the Cat's Pajamas, Nepeta. We've got a beautiful Lantana there up against the back wall. One thing we're finding with the Lantana in the greenhouse is they are growing really large. So much larger than what we would normally see when if they were outdoors. And obviously it's because they're in kind of a tropical environment in here. Another Pugster amethyst, Lantana, and then the candy corn spirea. Here's another Monarda that was trimmed back. Along the wall we have some Daisy May leucanthemum. More of the beautiful coneflowers. So I think coneflowers are a pretty important plant to have in a pollinator garden. And I like how they kind of cycle through. Got another beautiful butterfly bush here. I believe this is the Pugster, either periwinkle or amethyst. Some more Asclepias here in the back. Some Hello Yellow. This one too has got a lot of caterpillars on it. Got the Sedum. I think this is Sedum Coral Jade. As we cross the aisle, we've got Honeysuckle. This is Sensation. And that we've kind of trained up an arbor. It's got these nice fragrant yellow blooms. Tucked in the back there is another Yarrow. A lot more Asclepias here. And it's so fun to see all these caterpillars on this Asclepias. And yeah, we're gonna have probably in the next couple weeks a lot of butterflies. So like I was saying, as soon as these butterflies emerge, they're gonna get set free out in the wild because we don't wanna have butterflies this late in the season in the butterfly house. Another Lantana, a Royal Cosmo, Hello Yellow milkweed, another Sedum just starting to color up. And this is the Lantana that has just exploded in the greenhouse. It's like 3 foot tall and 3 foot wide, which is definitely not a normal thing in Michigan. Like if Lantana get 18 inches, 20 inches tall, that's a pretty big Lantana. So with this one here being upwards of 3 foot tall and wide, it is crazy big. We have some aster planted here in the back, and the aster is planted again for some late season color. Wicked Witch Coleus did amazing in this aqua pot. We'll turn around and get the front view of this aqua pot here. So in this aqua pot we did a yellow canna, the Wicked Witch Coleus, and then the Kufia Vermillionaire. And that is probably about an 8 foot tall container right now. When it started, it was only about 4 foot. So those aqua pots have really helped those plants grow and get big, along with this tropical environment here in this greenhouse. There's another milkweed, some more Lantana. If you have a hot and dry area, Lantana is perfect for hot, dry areas. So they're a more drought tolerant plant. So if you have an area that's dry, once they get established, they should just take off in the garden. In the back there, we have tucked in another butterfly bush. In the center here, there's a bunch of petunias in here as well. Those all got ripped out. So now it's just a little garden of lantana and a tree that's kind of struggling at the moment. That did not fare well with the spider mite. In the back here, we have some more hollyhock, more coneflower, and more Asclepias. And with Asclepias comes a lot more caterpillars. We have a trio here of the Pugster butterfly bush. We have Pugster pinker, Pugster amethyst, and Pugster blue. Great compact variety. So if you have a small space in your garden, these are perfect for giving you big blooms, lots of scent, and just a nice splash of color. So in this butterfly house, we have probably about 7 or 8 different species of milkweed. Some of them are annuals, some of them are perennials, and just all different kinds of colors. So it's been interesting to watch what the caterpillars and butterflies have been gravitating to. Another sedum there that got split open, so we should have trimmed that back so it could flush out. Lantana. Here's a whole bunch of aster that's not open yet, so that will be great here in the next probably week. Some more lantana and some phlox. Another Asclepias here. This is the most caterpillars I have seen in this greenhouse all summer long at one time. So obviously we've had butterflies throughout. We haven't seen a lot of butterflies in the last month or so, maybe a handful, but whatever we had obviously was doing its thing and laying eggs, because for the amount of caterpillars right now, those butterflies were busy. Some more coneflower and lantana. Some more lantana. One place that we are finding the Chrysalises, it's kind of funny, is it's right along this bottom bar here in the greenhouse. So typically that's one of the first places we'll look, is because that's where we're finding the Chrysalises a lot. So right now, as I was walking through, that's really the first chrysalis that I've seen. So there's definitely more going to be showing up here, I'm guessing within the next 5 days or so, based off of the size of the caterpillars that I was seeing. So I had talked about us doing biologicals in here. We have not started that yet, but that is definitely something that we are going to be looking into. At this point, we wanted to just trim everything back and see how it came back. Most of the stuff is pretty clean. We don't have a ton of spider mite and thrip right now. So I think by getting rid of a lot of the plants in here, that helped with airflow and just eliminating some of the issues, because those plants were kind of maybe host plants for the issues. But we will be doing some environmentals this fall and in the winter, because we definitely, before we plant this up again with our annuals, we want to make for sure it's a clean environment out here so we don't experience what we had this summer happen again next summer. So this year was definitely a learning curve, a learning experiment. We've been happy with the results, even though we've had a few hiccups along the way. Nothing comes easy, and certainly this butterfly house was certainly a sign of that. So we look forward to next year and seeing what happens and how things grow and how the butterflies all emerge. So stay tuned to more videos and look forward to more coming for the spring of 2022. This is Heidi from Garden Crossings out in the butterfly house.